Welcome to Pastor Andrew's Inspirations. If you enjoy these videos, please click on the red subscribe button below and the bell for more. Welcome to our online church, a congregation made up of many from around the world. No offering is necessary. Subscribing and watching videos will keep us alive under God's watchful eyes. Today we will be learning about the ancient city of Jerusalem, Part 4. What is the history of Jerusalem during the Kingdom of Jerusalem? Last week we learned by 1099 Jerusalem's population had climbed back to some 30,000. In 1187, the city was wrested from the Crusaders by Saladin, who permitted Jewish and Muslims to return and settle in the city. Under the terms of surrender, once ransomed 60,000 francs were expelled. The Eastern Christian populace was permitted to stay under the Ayyubid dynasty of Saladin. A period of huge investment began in the construction of houses, markets, public baths, and pilgrim hostels, as well as the establishment of religious endowments. However, for most of the 13th century, Jerusalem declined to the status of a village due to the city's fall of strategic value and Ayyubid internecine struggles. From 1229 to 1244, Jerusalem peacefully reverted to Christian control because of the 1229 treaty agreed between the Crusading Holy Roman Emperor Frederick II and Al-Kamil, the Ayyubid Sultan of Egypt, that ended the Sixth Crusade. The Ayyubids retained control of the Muslim holy places. Arab sources suggest that Frederick was not permitted to restore Jerusalem's fortifications. In 1244, Jerusalem was canned by the Khwarezmian Tatars. They decimated the city's Christian population and drove out the Jewish. The Khwarezmian Tatars were driven out by the Ayyubids in 1247. From 1260 to 1517, Jerusalem was ruled by the Mamluks in the wider region. Until around 1300, many clashes occurred between the Mamluks on one side and the Crusaders and the Mongols on the other side. The area also suffered from many earthquakes and Black Plague. When Nachmanides visited in 1267, he found only 2 Jewish families in the population of 2,000, 300 of whom were Christians in the city. The well-known and far-traveled lexicographer Firuz Abadi spent 10 years in Jerusalem. The 13th to 15th centuries was a period of the frequent building activity in the city. As evidenced by the 90 remaining structures from this time, the city was also a significant site of Mamluk architectural patronage. The types of structures built included madrasas, libraries, hospitals, caravanserais, fountains or sebels, and public baths. Much of the building activity was concentrated around the edges of the Temple Mount, or Haram al-Sharif. Old gates to the Haram lost importance and new gates were built, while significant parts of the northern and western porticos along the edge of the Temple Mount Plaza were built or rebuilt in this period. Tankiz, the Mamluk emir in charge of Syria during the reign of Al-Nazir Muhammad, built a new market called the Cotton Market in 1336, along with the gate known as the Cotton Gate, which gave access to the Temple Mount from this market. The late Mamluk Sultan al-Ashraf Qaibay also took interest in the city. He commissioned the building of the Madrasa al-Ashrafiyya, completed in 1482, and the nearby Sabil of Qaibay, built shortly after in 1482. Both were located on the Temple Mount. Qaibay's monuments were the last major Mamluk instructions in the city, from 5 Mamluk constructions in this city from 589 to 612. In 1517, Jerusalem and its environs fell to the Ottoman Turks, who remained in control until 1917. Jerusalem enjoyed a prosperous period of renewal and peace under Suleiman the Magnificent, including the rebuilding of magnificent walls around the old city. Throughout much of Ottoman rule, Jerusalem remained a provincial, if religiously important, center, and did not straddle the main trade route between Damascus and Cairo. The English reference book Modern History, or The Present State of All Nations, written in 1744, stated that Jerusalem is still reckoned the capital city of Palestine, though much fallen from its ancient grandeur. The Ottomans brought many innovations: modern postal systems run by various consulates, and regular stagecoach and carriage services were among the first signs of modernization in the city. In the mid-19th century, the Ottomans constructed the first paved road from Jaffa to Jerusalem, and by 1892, the railroad had reached the city. With the annexation of Jerusalem by Muhammad Ali of Egypt in 1831, foreign missions and consulates began to establish a foothold in the city. In 1836, Ibrahim Pasha allowed Jerusalem's Jewish residents to restore 4 major synagogues, among them the Herva, in the countrywide peasants' revolt. Qasim al-Ahmad led his forces from Nablus and attacked Jerusalem, aided by the Abu Nosh clan, and entered the city on the 31st of May 1834. The Christians and Jewish of Jerusalem were subject to attacks. Abraham's Egyptian army routed Qasim's forces in Jerusalem the following month. Ottoman rule was reinstated in 1840, but many Egyptian Muslims remained in Jerusalem, and Jewish from Algiers and North Africa began to settle in the city in growing numbers. In the 1840s and 1850s, the international powers began a tug-of-war in Palestine, as they sought to extend their protection over the region's religious minorities, a struggle carried out mainly through consular delegates in Jerusalem. According to the Perusian consul, the population in 1845 was 16,410, with 7,120 Jewish, 5,000 Muslims, 3,390 Christians, 800 Turkish soldiers, and 100 Europeans. The volume of Christian pilgrims increased under the Ottomans, doubling the city's population around Easter time. In the 1860s, new neighborhoods began to develop outside the old city walls to house pilgrims and relieve the intense overcrowding and poor sanitation inside the city. The Russian compound and Meshkino Shanaman were founded in 1860, followed by many others that included Mahan Israel 1868, Nahalat Shiva 1869, German Colony 1872, the Beit David 1873, Meishiram 1874, Shinam Hazadik 1876, Biet Yaakov 1877, the Abor Tor in the 1880s, American Swedish Colony in 1882, Yemen Mosh in 1891, and Mamilla, Wadi al-Jawz around the turn of the century. In 1867, an American missionary reports an estimated population of Jerusalem of above 15,000, with 4,000 to 5,000 Jewish and 6,000 Muslims. Every year there were 5,000 to 6,000 Russian Christian immigrants. In 1872, Jerusalem became the center of a special administration district, independent of the Syria Vilayet, and under the direct authority of Istanbul, called the Matosarafate of Jerusalem. The great number of Christian orphans resulting from the 1860 civil war in Mount Lebanon and the Damascus massacre led in the same year to the opening of the German Protestant Syrian orphanage, better known as the Schneller Orphanage, after its founder. Until the 1880s, there were no more Jewish orphanages in Jerusalem, as families generally took care of each other. In 1881, the Diskin Orphanage was founded in Jerusalem, with the arrival of Jewish children orphaned by Russian pogrom. Other orphanages founded in Jerusalem at the beginning of the 20th century were Zion Blumenthal Orphanage 1900 and General Israel Orphanage Home for Girls 1902. This was the ancient city of Jerusalem, Part 4. Please stay tuned for Part 5. Adonai Nisi, the Lord, is our banner. Remember, if you like these videos, please click on the red subscribe button below and the bell for more. God's blessings be upon this message and us all.